It's a very good morning to you from Mugello in Italy, round 6, the MotoGP World Championship. No better place to be in the world than being at this magnificent circuit, high in the Tuscan hills above the magical city of Florence. Grand Prix racing, well, it's the 30th Grand Prix to be held at this circuit. First one was back in '76. Barry Sheene beat Phil Reed by 1/100th of a second. They really set the benchmark. Coming up in MotoGP, oh, stand by. Ducati in pole position. Andrea Iannone, despite that injured shoulder, his very first pole start in MotoGP. One man who could really upset the Italian party, Jorge Lorenzo, chasing his third successive Grand Prix win. He's in the middle of the front row. Completing the front row. Yes, it's another Ducati. Andrea Dovizioso chasing that very first home Grand Prix win. And fastest man on the second row, Cal Crutchlow. Third here just 2 years ago. Good morning from Mugello. So a very good morning to you. It's a glorious spring summer morning here in the Tuscan hills. It's quiet and serene in that part of the countryside. Travel down a few kilometers and you are in the middle of complete madness. This is the Grand Prix of Italy. This is Mugello. It honestly does not get a lot better than this. Round 6 of the MotoGP World Championship. We start with the 20-lap Moto3 race, and it's good morning to you from Nick Harris. Alongside me, Matt Burt, and down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. Temperatures, as you can see already, 36 degrees centigrade, the track temperature. Just over 20 degrees centigrade, the air temperature, and that is only going to get warmer and warmer. A little bit of breeze to help the crowd. A bigger crowd as I've ever seen at Mugello. It'll be interesting to see when we do get the crowd figure. But the stage is set for an amazing day of Grand Prix racing at round 6 of the MotoGP World Championship.
Atmosphere here in Mugello already building up to a crescendo. We're joined on the grid here ahead of this 20-lap Moto3 race. Leading the way is Danny Kent, the World Championship leader, a 156.615 yesterday, putting in one place ahead of his teammate on the Leopard Racing Honda, Hiroki Ono. Great 1-2 for the Kiefer Racing team.
The big threat will come to them from the Italians, and spearheading that threat, Romano Fenati, who's qualified on the front row of the grid. He may only be 5th in the World Championship. He won the last round here. Sorry, he won the last race here a year ago, and he won the last round in Le Mans. But another mighty impressive performance by the 21-year-old English rider, Danny Kent.
Second pole position of 2015 for Danny Kent. 3 victories so far for the 21-year-old. He leads this World Championship by 37 points from Enea Bastianini. Can Danny Kent make the break in this 20-lap race? Of course, all about the slipstream here at this magnificent Mugello circuit with Danny Kent. We've seen him break away in Texas. We've seen him break away and destroy the field in Argentina. Can he do it again here?
4th in the previous round in Le Mans, of course, after that qualifying problems when it poured with rain. He had to start from 31st on the grid, so 4th was a terrific result. Best result at Mugello, 5th 3 years ago, and a big, big surprise. And a lot of hard work by Danny Kent helped his teammate, Hiroki Ono, the 22-year-old Japanese rider.
First front row start of his World Championship career for Hiroki Ono, the 22-year-old. He's in fact the first Japanese rider to qualify on the front row of the grid in the lightweight category since Tomoyoshi Kayama 8 years ago, way back in 2007. Look at that support here. And we'll have a look, I'm sure, next at Romano Fenati on the front row of the grid. Most of those thousands of fans gathered on the hillsides around this magnificent Mugello circuit. Huge Italian support, of course. Can Fenati win back-to-back successes here in Mugello? Of course, back-to-back wins this season after his triumph in Le Mans 2 weeks ago.
19 years old. Big responsibility on his shoulders. Finished on the podium here on his Grand Prix debut season back in 2012. Fifth in the World Championship. Not where he would want to be, but rode a brilliant race in Le Mans. Unbelievable race here last year. The closest ever podium finish in the history of Grand Prix racing. Dylan down in pit lane.
Yeah, guys, I'm just going to bring you down the grid a little bit further with Brad Binder on the KTM. Brad, qualifying, I'm sure, didn't go quite as you had planned, but we've seen from Romano, the KTM looks very strong here. What can you expect?
Yeah, you know, for the race today, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I always enjoy the races a lot more than qualifying the practices. But, yeah, I mean, we've really been battling with the setup this weekend. I haven't really been comfortable on the bike, but this morning we definitely made a small step forward, so I think it's exactly what I need to fight with the guys today.
How important is that slipstream coming down this main straight?
Yeah, I mean, luckily this whole weekend my bike's been really good, so yeah, the top speed's been good and it's going to definitely help in the race.
And thank you very much, Brad. Good luck.
Yeah, Brad Binder has qualified on that fourth row in 12th place, but it's his teammate Karel Hanneke who's done a great job qualifying on the second row.
Yeah, Karel Hanneke equaling his best ever qualifying performance. The last time he started a race in fourth was back at the Sachsenring in Germany last July. Problems already this season, of course, for the 19-year-old from Brno, but he's 10th in the race here last year. That was one of a few top 10 finishes that Hanneke had in an up-and-down rookie season. As we had another quick look there at Romano Fenati. Incredibly, Romano Fenati is starting from the front row of the grid for only the second time in his Grand Prix career. First look as well at Nicolo Antonelli.
Sorry, guys, just as you mentioned Romano Fenati, I'm just grabbed team manager Pablo Nieto. Pablo, last year Romano came onto the home straight in third place and he won the race. What is the tactic today?
I think difficult to say, because we know that this track is so important, the last corner, because depends how you are in the group, you can win or you can lose the race, so difficult to say.
So he just has to go for it as much as he can.
We will try to do our best.
Thank you very much, Pablo.
Yeah, there's nothing a team manager can do once they get out there in that situation. We saw Nicolo Antonelli, who's qualified in the middle of that second row of the grid, 12th in the World Championship. He was 4th in Mugello on his debut season, you know, 3 years ago. And alongside him, Jakob Kornfeld, who's just coming into a little bit of form, the Czech rider.
He really is, Nick. Second successive top 6 qualifying position for Jakob Kornfeld. Crashed this morning, though, at the final corner in the warm-up session. He was unhurt in that incident. There is Anea Bastianini. He heads up row 3, of course. A great fight for the victory by the teenager 1 year ago before he was caught up in some late drama with Jack Miller and Alex Marquez. Keep an eye out for Bastianini, though, on the Gresini Honda.
Guys, I'm going to change Honda riders. I'm down here with Fabio Quartararo. Fabio, very unlucky in qualifying, just a small crash, but you've shown you can go very fast here. How confident are you for the race?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good, because on the qualifying I make a little bit mistake, but I'm really confident for make a really good rhythm and not make a mistake like in Le Mans. But I will try to do a really good start, but it will be difficult to follow Ken, but the race will be a group.
Right, thank you very much, Fabio. Good luck.
Yeah, he's qualified down in 13th place because he was second in Austin, but that crash in Le Mans. It's a really decent third row of the group, because Anea Bastianini, who was second in Le Mans, is second in the championship. Alongside him, Pekka Bagnaia, who finished third at Le Mans and is 9th in the championship. And completing that third row, another Italian, Andrea Locatelli. That is a really strong third row.
Yeah, because his form's gone away from him just a little bit, Locatelli, hasn't it, in recent races. He was 7th on the grid in Qatar and finished just outside the top 10. Front row of the grid he was at the second round in Texas, finished 7th. But since then he's not qualified inside the top 10 2 times. Struggled to qualify even inside the top 20. So that impressive qualifying performance from Locatelli.
Yeah, Anea Bastianini is going to be the man to watch, you would think, from that third row, because that's quite good qualifying for him, isn't he? Doesn't qualify well, But as we saw at Le Mans, second in the race. And that first Grand Prix win is not far away from him. And obviously, if he could do it here, it would be so, so special. Just look at that crowd.
Not a spare blade of grass to be occupied on that hillside. Huge crowd here at Mugello. Advanced ticket sales up by around 15%. There was traffic jams already gathering outside the circuit at 7 o'clock this morning. Of course, a lot of that to do with Valentino Rossi's revival, Ducati's revival. As we look at Miguel Oliveira, he'll go from the middle of the fourth row of the grid. A couple of fourth places here for Oliveira in the past, but still chasing that elusive first career victory.
Yeah, he's 8th in the World Championship. He was 2nd in Jerez. I tell you what, that is a decent fourth row of the grid. It's Brad Binder we spoke to, Miguel Oliveira, and 10th fastest is Isaac Vinales, 6th in the World Championship. Of course, he was 2nd here last year in that slingshot to the line.
Yeah, just beaten by Romano Fenati in what was a dramatic finish to the race here last year. That's Fabio Quartararo. We've just heard from him on the grid with Dylan, 16 years of age. Bitterly disappointed last time out in Le Mans to crash out of his home race. He slipped back to 4th in the World Championship standings.
Beautiful morning here. Conditions absolutely perfect for round 6 of the Moto3 World Championship. Front row of the grid. Romano Fenati won here last year and won at the previous round of Le Mans. Hiroki Ono on the front row for the very first time, but in pole position for the 2nd time this season. As he chases his 4th Grand Prix victory of the season, it's Danny Kent. So welcome back to Mugello. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me Matt Burt, down in pit lane Dylan Gray. Round 6 of the Moto3 World Championship.
Leopard Racing 1-2 on the front row. Danny Kent from Hiroki Ono. Romano Fenati, only his 2nd front row start of his career. Row 2, Hanneke Antonelli Cornfall. The 3rd row headed by Enea Bastianini, Pecco Bagnaia. And an all-Italian lineup completed by Andrea Locatelli in 9th.
Again on that 4th row of the grid, Isaac Vinales, Miguel Oliveira, Brad Binder. Efren Vasquez on row 5, as is Quartararo. A little bit further down, Navarro, Jules Danilo and Livio Loy, who qualified on that 6th row.
Row 7 headed by John McPhee. Problems for the British rider in the warm-up. Jorge Martin 20, ahead of Philip Ertel. Row 8, Iho, Masbu and Migno. And row 9, Kyradin, Remy Garnett, the Australian, and Maria Herrera, the Spanish female rider. Row 10, headed by Darren Binder. Had a good warm-up session this morning. He was inside the top 10. Then it was Manzi Ferrari completed that 10th row. Row 11, Carrasco, Tanucci, Rodrigo. And the final row, Groppi and Bisecchi, the 2 local wildcards. And 36th place was the Japanese rookie, Tatsuki Suzuki.
So here we go. One more sighting lap and proceedings will get underway at Mugello. Round 6 of the championship. The championship led by Danny Kent with that 37-point advantage over Enea Bastianini, who led the way from Efren Vasquez, took over 2nd place after Vasquez crashed out in Le Mans. Fabio Quartararo in 4th place, Romano Fenati 5th, and Isaac Vinales in 6th place. Well, Dylan, we usually come down to you and you're looking up at the sky and we're saying, is it going to run the race distance? What about the weather? It's near nigh perfect, isn't it?
Well, I'm actually hiding here under the Ducati pit wall just to get some shade because it's so nice and sunny. It's so warm out there. I mean, absolutely perfect racing conditions, which is absolutely great. No worries whatsoever. I think you just see it on your screen now. 23 degrees centigrade, 37 degrees. Track absolutely ideal. And the nice thing is the vast majority of the grid on exactly the same tyres, medium front, medium rear, so nothing's going to be decided by them.
I think the big question is, can Danny Kent get away at the front and annihilate the opposition as he did in Austin and Argentina? And as he pointed out, there was a long straight in Austin and a fairly long straight in Argentina, but Austin in particular, straight is almost as long as the one here, isn't it?
Yeah, Danny Kent said it's all going to be about the first 5 laps in terms of whether he can break the field, open up a gap of 1 or 2 seconds just to break the slipstream of the chasing pack. As Nick said, we've seen him do it before, twice this season. We ride on board this warm-up lap with Enea Bastianini. He will be a big threat from 7th place on the grid. Of course, he came through from 16th here last year to fight in that leading group. misfortune when he was involved in that final lap collision with Miller and Alex Marquez, but Bastianini definitely one to watch as he goes from that all-Italian third row of the grid.
What a fabulous view of the Mugello circuit. 5.245 kilometres, 3.259 miles. It's a series of fast S-bends following the contours of the hills. There you go, 37-point advantage for Danny Kent. Vasquez close but dropping out in Le Mans. So Bastianini coming up into second place. Quartararo, brilliant debut season for him despite the problems he had at Le Mans.
So riders coming to the start line for this 20-lap Moto3 Italian Grand Prix.
It's Niccolo Antonelli leading the way. He's in the middle of that second row of the grid. He's an electric starter, so watch out for him. But there's a lot of good starters out there. Valentino Rossi come to check the fortunes of his team, and Romano Fenati in particular. But the only time he's come out in the paddock, I think, when he hasn't had official business, because it's pretty difficult for Valentino Rossi to travel 1 metre here at Mugello. He is so popular.
Yeah, Valentino Rossi looking to see if Romano Fenati can repeat the heroics of 1 year ago when he slipstreamed from third place to take the victory on the line. One of his 6 Moto3 wins. Fenati back in 5th place in the championship. 53 points adrift of the championship leader and the pole man, Danny Kent.
Fabulous livery, you've got to say, for the Sky Italia VR46 bike. Obviously, the Italian livery. Red flag is coming away. We're at Mugello, the greatest Grand Prix venue of them all. Round 6 of the Moto3 World Championship is underway. Great start by Danny Kent.
Brilliant launch off the line by the number 52 from pole position, Danny Kent. Hiroki Ono, his Leopard Racing on the teammate, also got away well. It's Ono that's going to lead the field down to the first corner. Ono, Kent from Fenati. Pecco Bagnaia got away well from the third row of the grid. He's up the inside of Cornfile into 4th place. Bagnaia now up into 3rd.
Everybody safely through. You don't say that every single time at the first corner at San Donato. Here we go, up through Luco, run along the top end of the circuit. Kent exactly where he wants to be. Fenati has already made sure, though, that he's in behind him. Ono dropping back a little bit like a stone at the moment.
Yeah, he really got carved up at the first corner at San Donato, did Hiroki Ono, because he led over the crest going down into the first corner against his teammate Danny Kent, but he's dropped back now to 6th or 7th place. It's Kent from Fenati, Bagnaia 3rd. Jakob Cornfile got away well from the second row of the grid. He's up into 4th place ahead of his fellow Czech rider, Karel Haneke.
It looked like the best that starts from Bastianini. He's currently running in 9th place. Also Miguel Oliveira in 10th place. Romano Fenati takes the lead from Danny Kent. Danny Kent immediately fights back. This is half a lap into the race and they're already at it.
Danny Kent and Romano Fenati side at the Corintao corner, can't find a way through. Kent though runs it a little bit wide. Fenati is through, Bagnaia also through. Danny Kent just got a little bit too hot into turn number 12. Fenati and Bagnaia, no second invitation needed. They're through 1st and 2nd.
Fenati looks behind him to see what is happening as they come into Pacini. And Pecco Bagnaia takes the lead on the Mahindra into Pacini, but Fenati will not be too unhappy about that. This is where the slipstreaming will start.
Danny Kent's dropped back to 5th place, but he could well lead the race going down into San Donato with the effect of the slipstream. Fenati will cross the line to lead at the end of the first lap. In fact, it was Jakob Cornfile momentarily. Fenati was credited with leading. There we go. There's the perfect illustration of the slipstream. Danny Kent came onto the start, finished straight back in 5th, and he's leading at the first corner on the 2nd lap.
And you have to work out what you're going to be doing on the last lap. If you haven't got a big enough advantage, you've got to be probably where Danny Kent was at Pacini. Okay, perhaps he didn't want to go in there far down as 5th place, but it's just a perfect illustration, a perfect practice, and an illustration also to his rivals exactly what can happen.
Yeah, Danny Kent, as we said, came onto the finish straight down in 5th place. He went into the first corner leading the race. Jakob Cornfile crossed the line in 2nd place, and he's now all the way back down in 6th or 7th, coming under real pressure from Enea Bastianini. And in fact, Bastianini has moved up the inside of Cornfile on the brakes at the Casanova Savelli section. Bastianini on the charge.
Yeah, he dropped to 9th place halfway through that first lap, but he's back on the charges. Kent leads the way up through Arabiata 1, now Arabiata 2. His fast right-hander at the top of the hill as they plunge down towards Scarperia. 1.5 laps gone, round 6, the Moto3 World Championship.
Yeah, and Karel Hanneke now has made a move up the inside of Romano Fenati. So Fenati, who led at the end of the first lap, he's dropped back down to 5th place. There he is now on the outside of Pecco Bagnaia and Karel Hanneke as they go down to the Biondetti 1 and 2. Danny Kent leads the way. Nicolo Antonelli in 2nd. Bagnaia, he had a short stint at the front. He's in 3rd. Great ride by Karel Hanneke. Best we've seen from him all season so far. He's keeping Fenati at bay in 4th.
Into Bacini corner they come, so Kent leads the way, but probably Nicolo Antonelli would do what Kent did on the previous lap. They line it up for the slipstreaming. This is going to be crucial on the very last lap. I think we're riding with Bastianini.
Yep.
4-5 abreast they go down. Here is Kent. Antonelli's also there. Suddenly out of nowhere, cork out of a bottle, comes Jakob Kornfeld. But Kent has just about held the advantage. Antonelli 2nd, Fenati in 3rd place.
Yeah, Danny Kent stronger on the brakes going into the first corner than Nicolo Antonelli. Fenati's picked up another couple of places in the slipstream. He's back inside the top 3. This lead group from Danny Kent down to Bastianini, just stretching away a little bit from that second group led by Miguel Oliveira. Poor start from the Portuguese rider. He went from 11th on the grid, didn't really recover any places. Hiroki Ono really struggling to keep the early pace. He's now back outside of the top 10.
They plunge down now through the Savellian Casanova left-hander, down towards Arabiata 1. They flick it right and then start this long climb up towards Arabiata 2. Half a lap of the circuit. There is 17.5 laps to go.
And Bastianini has picked off another place up the inside of Pecco Bagnaia at the Arabiata 2 corner. Here's the race leader, Danny Kent. It's still Antonelli right behind him. Bagnaia now fighting back to take a position back from number 98, Karel Hanneke. The gap back to Fabio Quartararo in the second group, just over 1 second.
They plunge down now towards Corontaio. Right-hander was the Ducati grandstand away to the left. Then they come up to the S's section, Biondetti 1 and 2. They flick it left and then right. Kornfeld well placed and up towards this crucial Bacini corner. But Kent still leads the way. There is Fenati in 3rd place, Antonelli in front of him and Kornfeld in 4th.
Accelerating now out of turn 15, the Bacini corner, all about the slipstream now. Kent leads the way, coming under pressure from Antonelli. Then it's Fenati, Kornfeld. Brad Binder had an excellent first couple of laps. He's in 5th. Under pressure, though, from Bastianini. It is Danny Kent that leads over the line at the end of lap 3, but he's getting blitzed by on the braking zone. And Fenati now has come through from 3rd to lead the race.
Brad Binder up the inside in 3rd place. I think it's Jakob Kornfeld now in 2nd place. Great stuff from Fenati. Danny Kent had done to him what he did to them, for 2 laps previously. This is how it's going to be a new lap record set by the South African on the KTM, Brad Binder, 157.318 as Kornfeld makes a move.
It was a couple of laps ago that Danny Kent went from 5th place into 1st. It was the complete opposite at the end of lap 3. He led over the line, and by the time they got on the brakes for San Donato, he was back in 5th place. It's Fenati that leads the way. Jakob Kornfeld, he's been really using the slipstream to good effect, the Czech rider. He's in 2nd. Brad Binder, who came from 12th on the grid, back of the 4th row. Excellent first 3 laps from the South African. He's really putting the pressure on Kornfeld up through Arabiata 2. It's still Fenati from Kornfeld. It's Kornfeld having a look on the brakes down into Scarperia. He is the Czech rider in the lead.
Czech rider takes the lead. Well, I hear they come racing through the left and then they go over the rise, almost blind as they come into Corontaio, the right-hander. Binder thinking about having a go now at Fenati. Bastianini nicely placed right in the pack now, so it didn't make the best of starts. He's right in there. And I think we've had one question answered already, haven't we? I don't think Danny Kent's going to be able to get away at the front. This is going to be a whole fight right to the end, and it will probably be decided by the slipstreaming on the last lap. In the meantime, keep out of trouble. You have a few practices at slipstreaming. Don't show your hand too much. And it's it's a difficult situation for these riders to be in. As Valentino Rossi watches his man, Romano Fenati. Fenati leads the way. Binder on his left. Bastianini on his right. On the brakes they come. And it's Fenati that holds firm. Bastianini side by side with Binder and moves into second place. Just got to keep out of trouble down there as well.
Yeah, real classic 8-rider dogfight unfolding for this Italian Grand Prix victory. Fenati back at the front under pressure like he was in Le Mans 2 weeks ago from Enea Bastianini. Bastianini now having a look up the inside. Thought about it on the brakes going into the Luco corner. They're through Poggio Secco now. Bastianini still trying to find his way through. Danny Kent still there in 4th place behind Brad Binder. They drop down the hill now into Casanova. Flick it left to Cervelli. Fenati, Bastianini. Danny Kent, as we said, 4th. Cornfile, he led at the start of this lap. He's now back in 5th place. Oh, that was close between Kent and Brad Binder down at Arrabbiata 1.
Yeah, Kent really made a move on Brad Binder there down at Arrabbiata 1. I don't know if he's worried that Fenati may try to get away at the front. I don't think that is going to happen. So it does remain the same as they come through Scarperia and they're through Poggiani. Through the left-hander, another series of S's up over the rise, down towards Corantaio. Just over 15 laps remaining of this Moto3 race. Round 6 of the Moto3 World Championship. It's the Italian Romano Fenati who leads. He won the race here last year. He won the previous round at Le Mans in France. Bastianini behind him, still chasing that elusive first Grand Prix victory. If you're going to do it here in front of your home crowd.
Jakob Cornfile back up the inside of Danny Kent at the final corner. He's got the inside line as well to take 3rd place from Enea Bastianini. Bastianini just a little bit in too hot at the Bacchini corner on the brakes. Brad Binder now in 2nd, leading the assault on Romano Fenati. This is the end of lap 5.
Across the line, there's 15 laps to go. They raced down towards turn 1, San Donato. They were fun out right across the track. 5, 6, 7, 8 abreast into the corner.
And it's
Karel Hanneke and Pekka Bagnaia now has got there.
But guys, I don't know whether you just noticed, Romano Fenati just proved to us that you can lead out of the final turn and still cross the line in 1st.
But you can't lead into that corner, San Donato in 1st place. But you're right, that won't matter on the last lap.
Because Pecco Bagnaia there, the perfect illustration of the slipstream here in Mugello. He came over the line to start this 6th lap, back down in 6th place. But he leads the way now from Romano Fenati. Jakob Cornfile took advantage of that mistake on the brakes by Bastianini at the final corner on the previous lap to move back into 3rd. Danny Kent, the World Championship leader, now back into 6th place. He won't be too worried about that. He knows the effect of the slipstream. But look now, the 2nd group led by Quartararo. This is really concertinaing up now, this battle. This 8-rider battle now is going to become a battle of about 15, 16 riders.
Yeah, from Vasquez is there as well as Fenati. Yeah, I think it's about getting up the inside. Bastianini, Cornfile, Brad Binder. When they came over the start and finish line over the rise, they found out they were 8 abreast, I think, going in down towards San Donato. It could be about 16 or 17 if it continues like this.
The track's not wide enough, is it, at the moment? It is from Vasquez. He's on the move there. He's just passed Nicolo Antonelli, who's been in this lead group right from the start of the race, of course. Vasquez, miserable time here for him last year. He jumped the start 1 year ago, fought his way back through to 12th place. Cornfile, really, really strong on the brakes into that Bacchini corner. He swept up the inside of Bastianini and Pecco Bagnaia. Really aggressive from the Czech on the brakes going into that final turn.
Yeah, he did it the previous lap as well, didn't he? He's very, very good there. Right, here we go. Cornfile looks beautifully placed. Bagnaia on the Mahindra also well placed. Here they go. They've fun out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abreast. Who's going to be fastest in there? Up the inside comes Danny Kent and takes over the lead once again. Kent then runs it wide.
Oh, Danny Kent thought he had the inside line as they went into the braking zone for San Donato. That looks like it's Karel Hanneke now, the number 98, who's been just sat off the back of that lead group of 5, keeping a watching brief for a couple of laps. But the Czech rider, it's either him or his teammate Brad Binder that has hit the front, coming under pressure from Danny Kent. Fenati now, as Bastianini puts in a real good hard move on Binder. They're having a real good fight there for 4th place. Looks like it is. It is indeed Karel Hanneke that's leading the way from Danny Kent. This is the drop down through Casanova and Cervelli. They'll drop down slightly through this bottom of the circuit. Arrabbiata 1. Hanneke leading a Grand Prix for the first time in his career.
Up the hill they come towards Arrabbiata 2. 13 and a half laps to go of this round 6 of the championship. We have a new man at the front, number 98. He's had his problems this season, but Karel Hanneke, the former Red Bull Rookies champion, leads the way from the championship leader Danny Kent. Fenati in 3rd place, won the last round in Le Mans and won the race here last year. Look out for Bastianini up the inside of Fenati. This is just going to continue, isn't it? It's staying out of trouble and keeping in the pack. Can you build any strategy to the last lap? I don't think you can. You've just got to see how it unfolds in front of you. Unbelievable slow-mo shots from Hanneke, Brad Binder, but it's Hanneke that still leads the way.
It's all action down at the final corner. They're 2 or 3 abreast going through the Bacchini turn. There is Jakob Kornfeld still looking to stay inside that top 6. It's Hanneke that's going to lead over the line at the end of lap 7. Fenati coming out of the slipstream right now. That's Bagnaia, Vasquez, Bastianini and Binder all together side by side. Fenati leads the way now on the brakes down into San Donato.
Yeah, great slipstreaming there by Vasquez. Actually got a little bit caught up in there. There's Fenati. Bastianini just now into 3rd place up the inside of Bagnaia. They were continually changed, but one man that loves this sort of race is Efren Vasquez. He's done really well to get in here. He slipstreamed brilliantly over the line. They just got a little tangled up as they come down towards San Donato.
He did indeed. Danny Kent, his Leopard Racing Honda teammate, he's been the victim of some of these slipstreaming moves. Kent, the World Championship leader, he's dropped back down to 10th place. Of course, it was only 1 lap ago that he momentarily led up the first corner from Karel Hanneke. It just, as we keep saying, the slipstream effect here down that long start-finish straight. Fenati leads the way. Hanneke having a great ride in 2nd. Bastianini still trying to edge his way to the front for the first time as they climb up to Arrabbiata 2.
12 and a half laps to go. That's the gap look between Fenati and Kent on the last lap, but this is what's going to happen. You've got to stay in that pack and you've got to hang in there. You've got to say Danny Kent got knocked back a fair bit. Efren Vasquez, his teammate, is in front of him, but it's Fenati that leads the way as they come through Cotton Tyre. Jakob Kornfeld having a really good race. What was he in the last round? 6 in Le Mans, and he's right in there once again. Brad Binder, after the disappointments in Le Mans, having a cracking race. I don't think you can plan any strategy, you. I just think you just got to wait and see what happens. Just like this into Bacchini.
Yeah, here is Fenati. He's going to lead coming out of that final corner. We've lost Stefano Manzi, one of the Italians. He's had a crash out. He's okay. It's Fenati, though. Bagnaia now into 2nd place. Hanneke desperately trying to get in the slipstream of that Mahindra. He does. And so there's Efren Vasquez. We ride on board with Danny Kent over the start line. Nicolo Antonelli comes darting out of the left-hand side of your screen. Kent now has dropped back, well, another place to 10th. Bastianini, though, on the brakes into San Donato, leads the race for the first time.
Bastianini leads the way, chasing that elusive first Grand Prix victory. Bagnaia behind him, also chasing his first Grand Prix win. Efren Vasquez, very comfortable now in 3rd place. Danny Kent, I'm sure he's quite happy to remain in the pack there, but he has dropped down a fair bit, hasn't he? Be just interesting to keep an eye on him in the next lap.
There is Stefano Manzi back on his feet. Romano Fenati led over the line to finish lap 8 in the lead. That's a replay of Manzi. That's a pretty heavy crash actually for the San Carlo Mahindra rider. Glad to see he's on his feet because that was a nasty tumble back at the front. Romano Fenati, I was just saying, led over the line to start lap 9. He's back in 8th place now as Bastianini leads from Bagnaia, looking for a 2nd successive podium finish on the Mahindra. Kornfeld still looking strong, looking for his first ever World Championship podium. Bagnaia coming under pressure yet again from Karel Hanneke.
They come from Poggiali, round the left-hander, up over the rise, down towards Corantaio. It is anybody's. Bastianini leads, Bagnaia in 2nd place. It's just remaining in the pack. That's what you've got to do. But it's so busy out there. It's so crowded. I just don't know what you have to do, to be honest with you. You've just got to hang in there and see what goes in front of you.
Well, I think one thing is, if you have to pass going into the final turn, you're going to cut your momentum and then you're likely to be passed ahead of that final turn. If you can lead into that final turn carrying a lot of speed, then you should be able to cross the line. It's going to be super tight, so you probably want to be leading just beforehand. Let's keep an eye out now on Miguel Oliveira.
Oh, great move by the Portuguese rider into the Vicini corner. So Oliveira now leads for the first time. His teammate Karel Hanneke absolutely alongside him. They almost touch as they go down towards San Donato. It's Oliveira that leads the way. Vasquez now in second place.
It's getting real tight at that first corner. They climb up the hill now to the Luco left-hander. We're on board with Efren Vasquez. He's come all the way from 15th on the grid, the back of the 5th row. Bastianini is leading, well, chasing Vasquez behind now. They're coming up towards the left-hander at Materazzi. They'll flick it right for Borgo San Lorenzo. Miguel Oliveira, that brave move. He passed up the inside of 3 riders at the final corner to sweep into the lead. This is with Vasquez, second in the race ahead of Bastianini.
Yeah, plunges downhill now through Casanova towards Savelli. Nobody able to break this field up in any way at all. I suppose you can try and run a quick pace at the front and perhaps leave a few people behind at the back of the pack. But it's an incredibly difficult situation. But Oliveira, probably the safest place to be at this stage is at the front, isn't it? You will keep out of trouble, but you've got to say, despite all the changing of positions and despite how big the pack is, it's been pretty clean stuff so far.
Romano Finati is now back down in 15th place. Fabio Quartararo's making a move forward. He's just climbed up into 9th through this second sector on lap number 10. Oliveira still leading the way. This lead group now is almost a 20-rider pack. Just 3 seconds between Oliveira in the lead and Andrea Migno back down in 20th place.
At the front, Oliveira leads the way from Vasquez. Bagnaia getting up the inside of Bastianini as they come into a Vicini. Yeah, you've got to say Finati and Kent seem quite relaxed at dropping down through the field. I'm sure they probably know what they're doing, but they are dropping back, but the pack is very, very close indeed. Over the line they come. 10 laps to go. Oliveira leads the way at the moment.
Quartararo.
For Quartararo.
Oh, Fabio Quartararo. Well, we just said he was beginning to make a charge through the field. He just climbed into 9th place, but for the second race in succession, Fabio Quartararo's crashed out. There he is.
Vicini, is it? The final corner, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, he lost the rear. This is him on the brakes now, coming into that final turn, 15.
For the second race in succession, the 16-year-old French rider Crash is out. Back at the front, the battle continues with Oliveira leading the way. Jakob Kornfeld now up into second place. Efren Vasquez, oh, that is tight between Bagnaia and Bastianini. They rub shoulders as they come through Casanova.
Oh, that was mighty close between Bastianini and Bagnaia. And as Bastianini might have just had to have closed the throttle as he went through Savelli, they lost a bit of momentum, and Karel Hanneke passed through on Arrabbiata 1. This is down the hill now at Scarperia. Miguel Oliveira still leading the way. Jakob Kornfeld's forced his way back now into second place. Vasquez third, then Bagnaia. Karel Hanneke's dropped back to 5th. Bastianini still looking really menacing. He's looking to take 5th place back from Hanneke. He does on the inside. Good clean move there by Bastianini as they head down to Biondetti 1. Oliveira, Kornfeld, Vasquez.
They're just opening up a little bit of a gap. And in that second group is Romano Finati and Danny Kent. I'm sure they know what they're doing, but they really have just dropped off the pace a fair bit as Oliveira leads the way into Vicini, onto this long 1.14 kilometre, 0.70 mile start and finish straight here. Jakob Kornfeld beautifully placed for a slipstream. Comes over the inside, uses the extra pit lane. Vasquez just blasts the Honda down. He's on the outside. We have Oliveira in the middle, and Oliveira holds the position. But Vasquez coming around the outside takes over second place.
Yeah, Vasquez using the horsepower of the Honda and his light physical size really to get a good slipstream behind Jakob Kornfeld. He couldn't quite make it stick on Miguel Oliveira as they got into the brakes at San Donato.
Yeah, Finati and Kent, they're nearly 2 seconds down now on these leaders. Dylan, any ideas, or do you think they're just making it comfortable and just staying in that pack?
I wouldn't have said comfortable. As we know, they did try and lead from the front. They did try and push away, so they may have used up a little bit of tyre quite early on in the race. Now they might still have something in reserve, but it's not a bad idea. They know they're going to have to fight at the end, so they might just be going a slightly slower rhythm to conserve tyres a little bit more and then push back up.
Yeah, I think that is probably exactly what's happened. I'm sure they can run at this sort of pace after we've seen the pace they've been running in practice and qualifying. Jakob Kohlfeld back into second place.
You can just see at the top of your screen now as they came over the crest down to Scar Perea. There is poor old Fabio Quartararo. Well, it's another no-point scoring finish for the 16-year-old Frenchman, of course, crashed out of the lead group in his home race at Le Mans just a couple of weeks ago. There is the race leader, Miguel Oliveira. Fenati and Kent, they're edging now back towards this lead group. They've been biding their time, but they're attacking again. There is Fenati, number 5. Race winner here 1 year ago with Danny Kent right behind him. They've sort of broken away from that second group, which was being headed by Nicholas Ayo at the moment. He's at Vinales, who was on the podium here last year. He's also involved in that big second group battle.
Oliveira leads the way as they come up to the finishing line. Vasquez again, they've got the Honda power from that Leopard Racing Honda. He goes around the outside, we ride with him. Now, can he ride round the outside? He rode into second place last time round. Can he make it even better that time? That was with Danny Kemp, because that was Romano Fenati behind him. There is Vasquez on the outside and second place once again. Very interesting to see the different lines, isn't it, into that San Donato corner.
It is indeed, yeah, and there's Alexei Masbu. We haven't mentioned much about him. He's been just at the back of this pack for quite a few laps now. Race winner, of course, at the opening round in Qatar. He's got Fenati and Danny Kent behind him. Danny Kent thought about having a look up the inside of Fenati at the Poggio Secco corner.
But it's still Oliveira that leads the way. They plunge through Casanova and Savelli. Bastianini and Bagnaia seem to like that corner in particular. They seem to like rub shoulders as they come through that corner. Uphill they come, 7.5 laps to go. Just got to be in that group and see what happens at Maccini. I mean, that's a traffic jam on a Monday morning, isn't it, in Barcelona or somewhere?
It is, it's like the M25, isn't it, in rush hour. There's a Jakob Kohlfeld on the far right of your screen. Excellent ride from the Czech rider so far. It's Karel Hanneke trailing that right leg. Two of the Czech riders having a really good, strong performance here in Mugello. There's Kohlfeld in third. Hanneke in fourth place. He's been engaged in a real good scrap with Enea Bastianini now for quite a few laps, but menacingly hanging on the back of this lead group is the World Championship leader. Danny Kent started from pole position for the 4th time in his career earlier on. Keep an eye on him there at the back, number 52, Kent. Still Miguel Oliveira leads the way. Nobody else, well, they can get in his slipstream down the straight, but they can't outbrake him into the first corner. He looks really strong in that hard braking zone at turn 1, does Oliveira.
He looks very strong indeed. I tell you, this won't do his confidence any harm at all to be leading a race for so long. If he's going to win the race, that first Grand Prix victory, we wait and see. Because Kent, without a doubt, and Fenati don't run it just right. Now, Vasquez has switched his move. Vasquez this time, although he goes wide once again, came up the inside. There is Kohlfeld. We're right with Vasquez. Bagnaia, Bagnaia we can just see, and there is Miguel Oliveira. He's obviously not leading the way, and now as we come up through the Luco corner, is it Jakob Kohlfeld leading the way?
I was going to say, but what we didn't see there was Romano Fenati. Fenati, while we were riding on board with Vasquez, Fenati had actually already passed the Spaniard to move back into second place. So Fenati, what was only 2 or 3 laps to go outside of the top 10 way back in 15th, he's now in second place. 7.5 laps to go. Bastianini now up the inside of Brad Binder at the Casanova turn 6. Oliveira still leads the way. Fenati, who's come back, well, he's picked off 13 riders in the last couple of laps. Fenati.
Well, perhaps Fenati feels that if he gets to the front, he may be able to open up a bit of a gap. He may not be able to get away, but he may make it less riders in that group. Vasquez snapping at the heels of Fenati, as he always will do.
Yeah, on that last lap, Nix, Romano Fenati was 0.7 of a second quicker than the race leader, Miguel Oliveira. So the Italian, he's really got the hammer down, as we said, chasing a second successive victory here. The team manager of that Sky VR46 squad, Valentino Rossi, watches on. Fenati looking for a second successive win this season. They're through Biondetti 1 and 2, heading down now on that run to the final corner at Maccini. Nobody looking up the inside of Oliveira at the moment. Bagnaia, though, dives up the inside of Kohlfeld. That's going to put the Italian on the Mahindra up into 4th place.
Yeah, and he should get a good run out of there. Has got a good run out of there. Vasquez still running in 3rd place. Well over 1 kilometre long. Fenati looks beautifully placed to slipstream as they come over the rise. Oliveira still leads the way. Fenati goes one way. Vasquez then comes up, uses the entrance to pit lane. Fenati should lead the way. Vasquez might try to get up the inside. Here comes somebody very late indeed. Bastianini into third place.
Oh, great move by Bastianini up the inside. On the brakes, he gained 3 places. He came over the line in 6th position. He's up to 3rd. There's Efren Vasquez fighting with Bagnaia. He's still in 4th place at the moment. Karel Haneke's dropped back a couple of places, as has Jakob Kornfeil. You can just see the 2 Czech riders in front of Danny Kent on the number 52 Leopard Racing Honda. Kent now in 8th place, but only a 1/10 of a second off this battle that's being led by Romano Fenati.
They're at Casanova, the right-hander. They start the downhill plunge, then the left-hander at the bottom. Savelli, the bottom out at the halfway round this magnificent Mugello circuit, then into Arrabbiata 1. Up the rise, steeper than it looks on the television screens, to Arrabbiata 2. It's the Italian that leads the way, Romano Fenati. Miguel Oliveira right behind him. Another Italian, second in the world champion. Bastianini chasing that first Grand Prix win. Efren Vasquez, Pekka Bagnaia, Karel Haneke, they're all in there. Danny Kent biding his time, the championship leader. 5.5 laps ago, this could go any way.
And you can just see at the top of your screen there, trio of riders. Jorge Navarro, Nicolo Antonelli and Isaac Vinales, they're right now on the back of this lead group. Of course, it was number 32, Vinales, that came so close to winning the race here last year. 6 laps to go. And it's Vinales now, you can see him there with that bright fluorescent green and yellow paint scheme with the number 32. He's looking pretty strong at the back of this pack now.
Oliveira leads the way into Maccini. Doesn't really matter who leads the way. So 1, 2, 3, there's what? 13 riders in that group. Yes, 13 riders. Spaces out a little bit, but perfect timing once again from Fenati. He showed when he won the race here last year just how good he is at the slipstream. Bastianini up the inside of Oliveira on the brakes now for San Donato. Bastianini thinks about trying to get up the inside. There is no way through. So Fenati leads the way. 5 to go.
Danny Kent thought about a look up the inside of Kornfeil and Bagnaia at the first corner. Had to hold station. He's come under attack from Antonelli. And Antonelli has moved up into 7th place ahead of Danny Kent as they run down now to the Materazzi corner. Oliveira look up the inside of Enea Bastianini. Hard move by the Portuguese rider, but he's through. Back into 2nd place, leading the chase of Romano Fenati.
Was a hard move on him. Now down the right-hander, Casanova. Bottom out at Savelli, the left-hander. There are 4.5 laps to go. A magnificent round 6. The Moto3 World Championship in front of an enormous crowd here at Mugello. And it's an Italian who still leads the way down to Arrabbiata 1 as they come uphill. Not for long. Portugal now lead with Miguel Oliveira.
Fenati just left the door open there at the top of the hill. Arrabbiata 2, Oliveira straight through into the lead. And Fenati now losing another place at Scarperia. He's back down in 3rd. Bastianini charging back through the field. Jakob Kornfeil just pushed a little bit wide off the track there as they came out of the Pelagio corner. This is down the right-hander, Corrientao. It's Oliveira that leads the way from Bastianini and Fenati.
Just opened up a little bit of a gap, didn't it? This is turn 12. This is Corrientao. There's Pekka Bagnaia and here Bastianini. 3 Italians, 1, 2, 3 then. It's not 3 Italians, 1, 2, 3 now, because Miguel Oliveira just opened up a bit of an advantage as they come through the Maccini corner. Now, this would be a big enough advantage to win the race, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if that's as it will be in 4 laps' time, Miguel Oliveira will be taking his first Grand Prix victory. That's the biggest lead we've seen in this race so far. Oliveira crosses the line. He's almost 4/10 ahead of Enea Bastianini, who crossed the line in 2nd, but Bastianini now dropped back down to about 7th or 8th as he's slipstreamed by a big group of riders. Danny Kent still trying to get his way back into podium contention. He's just looking out on the outside of Kornfeil. He stays in 6th place at the moment. Oliveira still leading the way. Hard move there by Nicolo Antonelli to move up into 3rd. Great move by Antonelli. He's on the charge. Crasher at the back of the pack. Was that Juan Fran Guevara, the Spaniard? I think it was. Bagnaia still there.
It certainly looked like one of the Aspar bikes, didn't it? I think it was Guevara. Yeah, it is one of the Aspar bikes. I think it probably is him, because we seem to still have Pekka Bagnaia. We certainly have. He's still running in 2nd place. Oliveira still leads the way. When he got out in front, it was like a pack of hounds chasing after him. They just were not going to let him get away. And he hasn't got away. Danny Kent's got quite a lot of work to do, but he's still got 3 laps ready before, well, 3.5 laps before he's got to start really thinking about that last corner. I've got to say, Oliveira has ridden at the front brilliantly, hasn't he? As well as I've seen him ride.
Yeah, this is a great performance so far by the Portuguese rider. He looks really strong as well on the brakes going into Bacchini corner. He carries a lot of corner speed round that final corner and gets a real good drive on that KTM up the start-finish straight. That lead, as we said on the last lap, the biggest we've seen in the entire race. Is Antonelli now that is leading the charge, though, trying to hunt down Oliveira. Bagnaia there in 3rd place. It's Kornfeld. Bastianini now back in 5th up the inside of Karel Hanneke.
Yeah, Bagnaia up into 2nd place on the Mahindra, but it's Miguel Oliveira on the KTM. It was a KTM win 2 weeks ago in Le Mans. Has he got that big enough advantage as they come over the line? Look out for Niccolo Antonelli, Kornfeld, Bastianini trying to find some space up the inside. Even tighter up the inside, Karel Hanneke. They plunge down now towards San Donato. 7 abreast into the right-hander. Danny Kent is right in there, and Danny Kent moves into 2nd place.
The World Championship leader, great slipstream down that start-finish straight. He's now leading the hunt of Oliveira. They come through Poggio Secco. Kent now all over the back wheel of Oliveira. Fenati, he's dropped back down to about 6th or 7th place. There's Oliveira, Danny Kent, Bagnaia, Bastianini still trying to find his way through on the Mahindra.
They're running along the top part of the circuit. Borgo San Lorenzo, Materassi. This is where they are now, through the right. Then they plunge downhill through Casanova. Savelli at the bottom of the hill. 2.5 laps to go. Danny Kent has now made his move, the championship leader.
Yeah, Danny Kent, he dropped all the way outside of the top 10, and as Dylan said, we suspected it was probably because he was trying to just save his tyres for this crucial final phase of the race. 2.5 laps to go. Danny Kent almost 0.4 of a second quicker on the last lap than the race leader, Miguel Oliveira, but it's still Oliveira on that Red Bull KTM doing a great job of leading at the front. He's under the most intense pressure possible.
He certainly is as they come down towards Corantaio. There is Niccolo Antonelli. Karel Hanneke having a really, really good ride at the moment in 5th place. Through Corantaio. Got to get through Biandetti 1 and 2 as fast as you can to get up to Bacchini. This crucial, absolutely crucial final bend. Where do you want to be on the last lap? Do you want to be where Miguel Oliveira is leading the way? Bagnaia, Kent now down in 3rd place. Bastianini threatening in 4th. And they cross the line. There will be 2 laps to go of this memorable round 6 of the Moto3 World Championship.
Come to the line now. It's still Oliveira that leads the way. Bastianini now crosses the line in 2nd place. We're on board with the World Championship leader, Danny Kent, as they plunge down to that first corner, flat out in 6th gear, down to 2nd gear. San Donato corner. It's still Miguel Oliveira that leads the way. Romano Fenati now has moved back into 2nd place, and Hanneke in 3rd. Oh, there was a touch there between Bagnaia and Antonelli. Antonelli came off worse because Bastianini and Kornfeld have swept through.
Just when you're riding off Fenati, just when you're riding off Kent, they get that slipstream and they pick up 5 or 6 places. Fenati then appeared out of nowhere, didn't he? To suddenly be back in 2nd place and right in contention. Hang on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. 1.5 laps to go. It'd be a brave, brave person to forecast who's going to win this particular battle here in the sunshine at Mugello.
Down through Arrabbiata 1. It's a KTM 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Mahindra in 4th with Pecco Bagnaia. Bastianini leading the Honda charge in 5th place. 1.5 laps to go. They drop down the hill to Scarperia. Drama here in the race 1 year ago when we lost Bastianini, Alex Marquez and Jack Miller.
Through Pelagio, over the rise to Corantaio. Less than 1.5 laps remaining. They plunge round the right-hander. They will line up the left and right of Biandetti 1 and 2. And then Bacchini and that long run to the line. This is no time for rehearsal. This will be the penultimate time they make this move. You've got to say Oliveira has a lot of speed on the straight. Bagnaia trying to get up the inside of Fenati, but Fenati getting really good run out of there. Fenati really fancies having to go Oliveira here.
Yeah, but Miguel Oliveira, as we said before in this race, he's so strong going into that Biondetti 1 and 2 and then going through the final corner at Bacchini. If it stays like it is at the end of this race, Oliveira, nobody's going to be able to slipstream him. He crosses the line to start the final lap. Fenati now attacking down to San Donato. Fenati takes the lead. Oliveira's going to drop back another place because Bagnaia up the inside. Danny Kent now up the inside of Oliveira too. Oliveira led the lap, but he's back down in 4th place.
Danny Kent up into 3rd place. Fenati leads the way. Bagnaia in 3rd spot. So Fenati chasing his 2nd successive win here in front of his home crowd. His 2nd successive Grand Prix victory. He won at Le Mans. Danny Kent making a move on Bagnaia. He can't do so. He's shoved aside by Miguel Oliveira.
Really good move there by Oliveira as they went through Borgo San Lorenzo. They plunged down the hill now into Casanova Cervelli. Fenati from Bagnaia. Those two fought for the victory 2 weeks ago in Le Mans. Don't write off Miguel Oliveira. Danny Kent still right in there. Bastianini tries to show him a wheel at Arrabbiata 1. Kent holds firm.
Oliveira right on the rear wheel now of Fenati. Danny Kent behind Bagnaia, but it's Romano Fenati that leads the way through Scarperia. And Oliveira's taken the lead. Perhaps Oliveira fancies his chances. We've seen that he's got so much pace coming out of Bacchini. We are about to find out. They're down at Colantire. Bagnaia's not going to help Fenati by trying to get up the inside. Quarter of a lap to go.
We've lost Efren Vasquez and Karel Haneke at some point on this final lap, but through the final chicane, it's still Miguel Oliveira that leads the way. Romano Fenati 2nd, Pego Bagnaia. Look at the inside line that Oliveira's taking to try and avoid being passed at the final corner. He's great here is Miguel Oliveira. Surely now nobody's going to be able to get close to him. Danny Kent's leading the charge. Oliveira on the KTM. Has he done enough to get a 1st Grand Prix victory?
Here they come. Who can slipstream? Miguel Oliveira could do it. Miguel Oliveira surely is going to win his 1st Grand Prix. Miguel Oliveira wins here in Mugello. Danny Kent 2nd. Romano Fenati in 3rd place. Bagnaia, Pasini, Antonelli, Navarro, Vinales, Masbu and Binder. Well done, Miguel Oliveira.
Round of applause to Miguel Oliveira. His tactics were absolutely spot on there. He made a couple of real hard moves on that final lap, rode a real defensive line going into that final corner at Bacchini. He knew he was so strong there, and he knew he was going to come under attack from the likes of Danny Kent, Romano Fenati, Pecco Bagnaia and Aya Bastianini, but he kept his cool. The speed of the KTM, it was no slouch against the Honda here in Mugello. Danny Kent takes a 2nd place, which will boost his World Championship hopes no end. Well, there's a poor old Karel Haneke because he was right in victory hunt down to the end, but he tangled with Efren Vasquez on the final lap. Dejection for him in the Red Bull KTM Motorsport squad, but jubilation for his teammate Miguel Oliveira. What a way to take your 1st Grand Prix victory.
Absolutely brilliant ride by Oliveira. And there we are. That's the incident. I think we're riding with Vasquez, but it's the incident with Haneke. There they are, both in the gravel. And Efren Vasquez making it quite clear who he thinks is to blame in that particular incident.
Yeah, it did look like Haneke was having a go at the inside of Vasquez.
That was an absolutely brilliant ride by Oliveira. He just seemed, didn't we, 4 or 5 laps we'd seen him leading the way, just had that pace. And he was brilliant. You've got to say, Dylan, you got it spot on. I think you're probably going to do the interviews now, but got it absolutely spot on, that pace through that final corner.
Well, yeah, it was. We saw Kent. Obviously, Kent tried to pass going in there. He got past Fenati, but carried enough momentum through there. So just a slight change on the machinery this year, obviously.
What a brilliant race, and it's always nice to see a new Grand Prix winner. We were talking about him yesterday to say he's been unlucky in his career. Now he's done it. Well done, Romano Fenati, winner in Le Mans, 3rd place here, winner here last year. That's a really good result because that, in many ways, could have gone any way, couldn't it? I've got to say, Oliveira, I thought, rode the race of his life.
This, for me, was the key of that 20-lap race. Miguel Oliveira was so strong in that turn 15. He was able to carry so much corner speed, and he fired that KTM onto the start-finish straight. Danny Kent was, what, 2 or 3 bike lengths further back. He starts just eking towards the back of Oliveira, but doesn't really make any impression. They cross the line now, And as you can see, it was Romano Fenati that just snatched the final place on the podium from Pecco Bagnaia. 0.03 of a second splitting the Italian duo. But it's a great ride again by Pecco Bagnaia, just missing his second successive podium finish. There is Danny Kent, the number 52. Well, that surely increased his lead in the World Championship standings. He came into this race at 37 points clear, didn't he, of Enea Bastianini? Well, he's picked up a few more points on the Italian because Bastianini, despite running inside that podium group for much of the race, he eventually finished in 5th.
That's right, and Miguel Oliveira is running 8th in the championship, so he's not going to affect the lead that Danny Kent has. So a good ride by Kent. Fenati seems pretty happy, but superb ride by Oliveira. I think we had a hint, didn't we? The way he rode at the front and the way he came out of that final corner every single time, getting such power onto that long start-finish straight. 1.14 kilometres, 0.70 miles. Is Valentino Rossi awaiting the arrival of Romano Fenati.
It's a risky strategy, isn't it, to lead? We've seen so many times, haven't we? The guy that's leading the race coming out of that final corner has been slipstreamed to the line. We saw it 1 year ago with that man there, Romano Fenati. But a fantastic ride, brilliant ride by Miguel Oliveira. 6th podium finish of his career, but the first win. And that's done his World Championship hopes the world of good, because Oliveira, as Nick said, started the day down in 8th place. The first ever Grand Prix victory for Oliveira. He's climbed up 4 places in the World Championship standings now, up to 66. And good news for Danny Kent, as we said, his World Championship lead now over Enea Bastianini up to 46 points.
That's I'm glad.
Is it 40? No, sorry, 44 points.
44 points. 78 for Bastianini, 124 for Danny Kent. So a pretty useful day. They actually looked a bit disappointed in the Leopard Racing garage when they crossed the line, but you win a World Championship, you're not going to win every race, and you're not going to win every race of that nature either, are you? That could have gone anyway, but I think it was a standout performance by Oliveira. Sometimes when you see races like that, it's slipstreaming and everybody takes their chance. But Oliveira, I think, made it very clear, 4 or 5 laps from the end, just how quick he was into that Vicini corner and how quick he could ride that long finishing straight.
He was so strong on the brakes, wasn't he, going into the final corner? It never looked like anybody was going to be able to get close enough to attack him into that Vicini turn.
Great celebrations in a Parc Ferme. Romano Fenati doesn't look too disappointed, does he, at being in 3rd place. He's been ushered along, and he's going to speak to Dylan now. 3rd place then for Romano Fenati.
Well, Romano, you're back on the podium in front of your home crowd, and what an exciting race. What were you thinking going into the final corner?
It was a very close race, and we fight a lot, and it was very, very difficult. And my tire dropped down very fast immediately, and but I'm happy because in the morning in the warm up the bike doesn't like the bike, no, and now was a little bit better, but yeah, I'm happy because the podium is always important for the championship, and yeah, we found to reduce the gap.
Thank you very much, Romano.
Yeah, absolutely right. They are reducing the gap, and I tell you, it's another win for KTM, and that really is switching the balance. Not at the top of the Riders' Championship, where Honda and particularly Danny Kent lead the way. But here is Danny Kent. He's increased his lead in the championship after finishing 2nd.
Well, Danny, you came onto that main straight. You were 2nd going in there. Did you think maybe you could catch Miguel in the slipstream?
Yeah, I was hoping. I didn't want to go into that last corner in the lead. You know, you can always lose a race, but no, I'm just happy to be on the podium because you know, there's 15 people trying for that podium, and it could have been anyone's race with the long straight with a slipstream, but no, again, we've increased our championship lead, and that's the main point. We're here for the long run, and no, I'm really happy.
Congratulations, Danny. Thank you very much.
He's absolutely right, of course. He's not going to win every race, is he? And to increase your championship lead to finish 2nd is absolutely brilliant. But what a performance by Miguel Oliveira. We were talking about him yesterday, saying that he arrived with Maverick Vinales, who's done so well, world champion. But at last, Miguel Oliveira, as he has a long chat with Danny Kent about the race. That's interesting that both of them really discussing the race. But Miguel Oliveira wins his first ever Grand Prix.
Well, Miguel, I think this must be a very emotional day for you, your first win in Moto3, and coming out of that final corner, did you think maybe they would catch you before the line?
Yes, I was afraid, but I tried many laps to do it, and I already knew from yesterday that the last corner I was pretty strong. I said in the grid that I don't want to be first in the last lap, but I didn't have any options, so I think it was better like this. Great day for me, and I'm happy.
Thank you very much, Miguel.
I think he's very happy. First Portuguese rider to win a Grand Prix motorcycle race, and that is one hell of an achievement. And not only winning the race, the manner he did it against the very best in the world was very impressive. And I'm sure for number 44 there is more to come, but the all-important championship points, Kent opening it out at the front.
Yeah, as Danny Kent said, not too disappointed with that second place finish because he's increased his lead in the standings to 46 points over Enea Bastianini. Fenati up to third, and Miguel Oliveira, the big move, he gained 4 places in the rankings, up to 66 points. Great ride again by that man there, Pecco Bagnaia. As he said, it was that close, but it was that's what 3,000ths of a second looks like when you're trying to judge it with your fingers. Bagnaia, he could not have done any more to put that Mahindra back on the podium. As we said, 3,000ths behind Romano Fenati. Fenati, Bagnaia and Bastianini, as they did in Le Mans, served up another great race for the Italian fans.
What a start of the proceedings here at Mugello. The crowd may have not got what they wanted, an Italian winner, but they saw a race of absolute quality and excitement, and a ride, a maiden victory, but a really special maiden victory. We're probably going to say in years to come, I remember when Miguel Oliveira won that first Grand Prix. What was it? Marc Marquez won his first Grand Prix here just 5 years ago. And Oliveira came in when he did, was rated in that sort of class, wasn't he?
He was indeed. Long overdue victory, I think, for Miguel Oliveira. He's threatened to do it on a number of occasions. This was the crucial move of that thrilling 20-lap race when Oliveira moved by Romano Fenati at the Scarperia turn. That's at turn 10. And once he hit the front, he really was so strong, as he said in that commentary, those comments to Dylan. It was that final corner which we said was where he was so strong.
Yeah, and that was a real calculated move, wasn't it? He decided at Scarperia or somewhere he was actually strong enough to take the lead. Everybody else, Danny Kent said, I didn't want to be leading going into that last corner. Oliveira had found and decided he could do it.
Well, he must have come off the start-finish straight with his chin on the tank, thinking somebody must be coming past me.
It must be horrible. Went absolutely on the rear with Liberty.
Well, he said himself, didn't he, on the grid, he said to his team, I don't want to be leading coming out of the final corner, but he had no choice because the reason he had no choice was he was so fast going through that final corner. Joy there, you can see Akihayo, the first victory of the season for the Red Bull KTM Motorsport squad. So dominant. Well, they fought for the championship, didn't they, last year with Jack Miller. But these will be unforgettable moments for Miguel Oliveira, the constructor and third place trophy presented by Paolo Sesti. And there is Akihayo, first win of the season for his three-man squad.
He has had a win in the Moto2 in his team, obviously different power with Honda, but with Johan Zarco. Romano Fenati, mighty battle throughout, and just keeping Pecco Bagnaia there for third place.
Great reception from the big home support here for Romano Fenati. Second place for Danny Kent. That's the 10th podium of Danny Kent's World Championship career. Believe it or not, that's the first time he's ever finished second. He's either won the race or he's finished third. So a new one for the mantelpiece at home in the UK for Danny Kent. But as we said, he won't be too disappointed because that World Championship lead now 46 points over Enea Bastianini.
This man at the top step of the podium is 20 years old. He's the first ever Portuguese rider to win a motorcycle Grand Prix. Congratulations to Miguel Oliveira, the Portuguese national anthem for the first time ever.
emotional scenes there for Miguel Oliveira as he listened to the Portuguese national anthem. As Nick said, the first time we've ever heard that anthem at the end of a World Championship race. And all credit to Oliveira because he did an absolutely fantastic job to defend that lead. And that champagne will taste pretty sweet for the 20-year-old. 6th podium finish of his career, but the first time he stood on the top step of the podium. His 68th Grand Prix appearance, and as we said, long overdue. And it was very emotional. You could just see him there fighting back the tears on the podium, and why not? Because it was a brilliant way to kick off your winning career in the World Championship. He was pushed all the way by Danny Kent on the left-hand side there, the World Championship leader, and Romano Fenati. But it is Miguel Oliveira who started this Italian Grand Prix in brilliant fashion. It was a thrilling 20-lap race. He was a pretty low-key at the start, decided to bide his time before he slowly picked his way through the field. But when he got to the front with that move on Romano Fenati, he never gave anybody else an opportunity to even show him a wheel. As we said, so strong in that final section. It's very rare that you see actually a rider coming out of the final corner, certainly in Moto3, that actually hangs on to win the race.
Giving us an indication for a good few laps, hasn't he? And Dylan was saying that, look at Oliveira, he actually can run at the front and not get taken. Confirmation. Miguel Oliveira wins his first ever Grand Prix. Danny Kent second, Romano Fenati by a whisker from Pecca Bagnaia, Iñigo Bastianini, Niccolo Antonelli. Plenty of Italians there, but they didn't win. Jorge Navarro's good ride by him. Isaac Vinales and Alexei Masbu just coming back to a little bit of form after that win in Qatar. Bit of a disappointment in the end for Brad Binder, who was right in there at one time.
He was, yeah, slipped back to 10th. Hiroki Ono had a good start from the front row of the grid. He finished in 11th. Io, Locatelli, Livio Loy and Andrea Migno, they all scored points inside the top 15. Jakob Kornfeil, well, he was inside the top 3 with a couple of laps to go. He dropped all the way back to 16th place.
Well, I wonder if he was involved in that Vasquez-Haneker incident. He didn't crash, but it could well have been some disappointment for a few people down there. John McPhee, his problems still continue. Decent ride by Remy Gardner on his Mugello debut. Fahmi Karadin still, unfortunately, having some major problems.
Karel Haneker did remount to finish the race. He was a last lap faller in an incident with Efren Vasquez. Other riders to crash were Danilo Guevara, Suzuki Rodrigo, Fabio Quartararo, one of the big casualties as he headed to the front of the pack. He went down earlier on, and Manzi and Bersecchi, they were also fallers in that 20-lap race.
All important Riders' Championship, 46-point advantage after 6 races. That's pretty impressive from Danny Kent, who finished second. Iñigo Bastianini hangs on to second place. Romano Fenati moves up to third. Miguel Oliveira moves up to fourth. And Efren Vasquez, with his second non-finish of in the last 2 Grand Prix, drops down to 5th place. There's Alexei Masbu moving up 1 place. Most of those points coming from that opening win. And John McPhee dropping down 2. And Jorge Navarro, that was a really good ride by Navarro, up 3 places. Poor old Karel Haneker was right in there until a lap from the end.
Yeah, Iho, Loy, all both inside the points this afternoon. And then Ertul Guevara, he crashed out. Danilo crashed out. Jorge Martin, he was just outside of the point scoring finishes today. Kai Radin down there in 25th in the World Championship standings, and the final point scorers this season so far, Manzi and Ferrari.
Well, catch our breath a little bit, I think, because that was a very special race. We expected it to be a special race. We weren't let down. Honda still lead the way, but KTM have had 2 victories in the last 2 races, and the battle is hotting up. Husqvarna third, Mahindra, Pecca Bagnaia so close to putting the Mahindra on the podium once again. Eventually pit by thousandths of a second. He had to eventually finish in 4th place behind Romano Fenati, but it's been a good couple of weeks for KTM.
Yeah, they fought back really strongly, haven't they, after a difficult start to the season.
So here we go, round 6, the Moto3 World Championship. An absolute classic encounter here in Mugello.